So Zoro and Fujitora. Who is stronger and what is the difference in those two power levels? So first of all, let me make it very clear that we have absolutely no clue how much either of these two characters are actually capable of. So I'm not saying that these are guaranteed or anything. We could very soon find out that everything I've said is just complete bullshit. But I'm going to give my opinion based on what I've seen so far and what seems like it would probably be kind of obvious. And what I mean by that is, it's really hard to say how strong Zoro really is, because every opponent he's had in the New World so far has been a complete pushover, so we don't really know how much he can do. So based on what we've seen so far, I would say it is likely that Zoro is probably a slightly better swordsman than Fujitora. I say this because, well, for one thing, Zoro is supposed to be eventually the greatest swordsman in the world, and he was just recently being trained by Mihawk, as well as the fact that Fujitora seems to heavily rely on his devil fruit. Fujitora is also pretty old, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's not in as good physical shape as Zoro. I mean, especially, after we've seen him with his shirt off in the New World, it's pretty insane, so I would say Zoro's probably in better physical shape. Unfortunately for Zoro, though, Fujitora's Devil Fruit is one of the most overpowered ones I've ever seen in this series. So what have we seen from Zoro so far? On Fishman Island, he consistently embarrassed the drunk swordsman. On Punk Hazard, he watched as Monet fought Tashigi for like 30 minutes, and then when he saw that Tashigi was gonna lose, he stepped in and ended in about 15 seconds. And then in Dressrosa, he fought Dofi's top, strongest executive, and this was by no means a fight in the slightest. This man, Rock, Pika, was on the run the entire time. Zoro was just chasing him down almost the entire arc. When he finally caught up to him, he completely annihilated a giant statue, which I reckon would have to be at least like 1,000 feet tall. I mean, I can't see it being any smaller than that. Just one shot after another, he chopped it in half like 8 times until there was only enough room for Pika to be left in the stones, so he had to come out. As soon as Pika came out, they had like a 30-second little standoff, and then Zoro one-shot him, as per usual. So, again, he hasn't really gotten any opponents where we've gotten to see him exercise his full strength, but I think it goes without saying he is extremely powerful. Hopefully we'll get to see a lot more in Wano from him. I am hoping we have like a Kaku level fight, something like that where we get to see him use everything. Maybe even open his eye, maybe get to see that Sharingan. But no, seriously, Zoro is a complete monster from what we've seen so far. So what can we say about Fujitora? Well, again, he has a completely OP Devil Fruit. He is an admiral in the Marines, and Dofi referred to him and Ryokugyu as true beasts. Now, as you should already know if you've seen my prior videos, I think that Dofi is a complete monster, and there's definitely the possibility that he could actually beat Fujitora. So in my opinion, this coming from him is very, very important. What we've actually seen from him has been a pretty impressive show as well. This man is able to call down meteors. He put Zoro in like a 50-foot hole. He was easily able to detain Law. He was not afraid of fighting Dofi and was easily able to block his attacks. He was easily able to control the movements of a Marine warship. He was able to control every last piece of rubble that was in Dressrosa and was able to make it float exactly where he wanted to with what seemed like no problem to me. And he was able to have like a 3-minute battle with Luffy without taking any kind of damage whatsoever. So yes, this is another man that I would consider extremely powerful. So between Zoro and Fujitora, who would win in a 1v1 fight, and who is able to contribute more to a combat situation? To be honest, I really don't know who would win straight up. But if I had to pick one, I guess I'm just slightly leaning towards Fujitora. Just slightly, though. If you think about it with what we've seen so far, Fujitora is more specialized in like AoE kind of attacks, where Zoro is just perfectly designed for 1v1s. So while Fujitora probably has considerably higher amount of combat power and he's much more useful in a large-scale fight, I would say that Zoro has a really, really good chance against him. If they were to get in a fight, I would imagine that Zoro would just pretty much be constantly constantly dealing with an intense amount of weight compared to what he's used to, and then it would just be a pretty straightforward fight from there. The way I see it, the extra weight that he would be having would just be like a handicap because Fujitora, like I said, is a lot older, so it would be as if they're in the same shape, and then it would just come down to their swordsmanship. And it's really hard to say how good Fujitora really is with a sword, but, I mean, I would imagine pretty good considering he's an admiral. But again, like I said, I'm really not sure who would win in this fight. I could easily see Zoro winning this. Like I said, if the only determining factor of who's going to win this is who is really a better swordsman, then it's kind of hard to think that it wouldn't be Zoro, right? I have a feeling by the end of the Wano arc, I'm probably going to end up saying that Zoro would easily win this fight because, again, I really believe that Zoro is going to turn it on in this arc. You know, because, like, this is the land of samurai, which are, like, guys that specialize in swords, and Zoro is going to become, like, the greatest swordsman, so it's kind of like it's going to be the Zoro arc, I think. And boy, have we been waiting for the Zoro arc with all the easy-ass opponents he's gotten through almost this entire series. The last one I can really remember that was good was Kaku. And don't get me wrong, that was an awesome fight, but it's just been a little while. So let me know what you guys think about this video. The last video I did, which was one of these, like, who would win type of videos, was received pretty well, so I thought, you know, I'll try it again. Maybe these are better characters too, so that'd be cool. Also, it took me a really long time actually to come up with two characters like this that would be good to pit against each other, who would win, you know? So if you guys could leave me in the comments your ideas, people I should put up against each other for future videos, that would be extremely helpful. If you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys on Saturday.